when political systems suppress information, this functionality rises, leading to instability, economic failure, and social unrest. A hybrid model with real-time, expert-driven governments would be the most functional system, according to Van Campen's law. So a notocracy and plus technocracy.
Notocracy is an invention of mine.
Okay.
that's governments by information. Now the app is really karma. Right?
Karma.
It is true, because it's thermodynamically it's impossible. So you're going to be killed, because what goes around comes around.
Well,
and it takes time sometimes, but we can prevent it now by already having the information that it will go wrong, or it will be dysfunctional through this idea. And hopefully it will work also in politics, so to maybe become more cautious, to have them optimizing the information access and use.
Professor Schippers, may I ask you some questions?
Yes, of course. What do you want to know, Rico? Hi, Arend. Welcome and Follow the Science. We meet again. We talked about 1.5 years ago about your dissertation, and in the meantime, you have finished your dissertation. And it's about information, and what I got from it, information is almost everything. It's so important that you even call it a kind of substance. Is that so? So tell me more about it, because I was a bit surprised.
Okay, now. Yeah, information, as Rolf Landauer, the IBM engineer, said in the 60s already, is physical. It is a substance. It is nothing. No, it's not a message or an email or something we know, but it is a physical entity, a substance. Dr. Vopson, who I interviewed in England, says it's maybe the 5th state of matter next to liquid, solid, plasma, and the other one is the... how do you call it again? Gas, right? Gas.
Okay.
So it's the 5th state of matter. Well, this is significant, of course, because now we can say, if we have information, if we have optimal information, things function.
Okay, but why would you call it a matter? Because it's interesting that,
Yeah, the relationship, information, mass, and energy is established now. So mass is the weight for matter.
Okay.
Matter has mass, and therefore everything that has matter, so all reality, everything, the house, our lives, your body is created of matter, which has mass.
Okay.
And there the relationship with energy and information is fundamental for its functionality.
Okay, so energy and information are... Is energy then also matter, or not?
No, energy is, of course, the energy we have to live by. In nature there is energy, right? We survive through energy.
It's all energy, basically.
But it cannot be disconnected from information. Because information and energy and mass, the equivalence principle, makes us function.
So you're saying that energy... for instance, information, governments use information, need information, and once they start suppressing information, then things go wrong. That's basically what I got from your...
Yes, because there's 2 laws in thermodynamics. First law is in energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Second law, global entropy, disorder, so things are going from one point to the end point. That's an energetic system, calling entropy, disorder, if you like, is fundamental also as the second law of thermodynamics, meaning everything that we have goes into disorder. For example, a cluttered room, for example, is disorderly. It takes energy
to... Not my room, I hope.
It takes energy to sustain the order. So we have to put energy into it to sustain it longer, right?
To sustain the mess.
to sustain the mess. So if you have that as a metaphor, we need energy to create order from disorder. And this is what life does.
Okay.
And this is related to information, because the observation gives you the information, and nature does the same, the communication of nature. makes you create disorder into order. And this is a fundamental biological process.
Isn't it also have to do with like life and death? Because once you're alive, you're still orderly. Once you're dead, it's like disorder and you fall apart.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but that can also be with like individuals, with groups, with all kinds of entities, with societies.
Every living system is bound by these laws. So whatever it is, a social system, a school, university, society, they all are bound by these laws, and this is the information dynamics. One side, this is what I've been researching, and information theory is connected. So information dynamics says the more information, optimal information we have, the less energy is lost.
Okay, so transparency of information is also very, very important in that.
Yes, because all the stuff that we do now without the optimal information cost energy. Because it cannot be created nor destroyed. So I have it here, but not there.
It's like a ball you push underwater, it will pop up all the time.
Yeah, there's always balance and counterbalance in every system. And nature is designed to use minimal information to not produce any waste. But we, people, do not really see that yet.
Okay, so what would be your advice based on this?
Well, like Dr. von Förster, he said, you always have to ask the maximum number of questions to have the maximum number of choices.
Like in science, you are supposed to ask questions.
Right, yeah, and then of course...
And every good research would create more questions than it answers. At least that's what I learned when I studied, and I still think that's true, but... Yeah,
of course, no, we have to consider the law of probability. We are creating probability, and the probability of order or disorder, I created an equation, we can now measure that. So it's either probability 0 or more for disorder, or for order, more than 0. Okay. So the equations we can use now in an AI application to test any man-made system, if it can function or can it not function. And we can measure the lost energy in the form of externalities. Okay,
that's what you developed, right? You developed an app.
Exactly.
Was that during your dissertation or after as a byproduct? Or
no, it's like a development of an idea. Before I started my research, I already had this idea. Information is life.
Right.
And when you look at the conditions for life, biology, nature, then we can say, okay, what are the conditions of a living system so it can sustain itself? And based upon that, we have mass, energy, and information. Within the constraints of reality, I call it realiteit, the limitation of reality. Either if you have not, are you going beyond it, or it is destabilized, mass, information, energy is destabilized and you go beyond reality or outside of that reality, the system will be in disorder, in entropy.
So what is really new in your dissertation is that you added information to mass and energy, basically.
Yeah,
as entities.
Yeah, the equivalence principle I applied, that was Dr. Vobson's reality, and now I can see that the basis for subsistence, for sustenance, for life, depends on the balance between those things, mass, energy, and information, always within truth, reality. Because we cannot, create untruth without dissipating, losing energy.
Okay, so I wrote a paper about how our society is collapsing and what we can do about it. And you say I can measure how far or how well this information is being used. Because what I also say is that information and decision making are really important. You cannot make a good decision if you don't have the right information or you don't have any information at all. How can you?
Yeah, exactly. So we always have to, try to maximize, optimize our information quality and quantity for make any decisions. And therefore, when you do that, you will dissipate, lose less energy. So now we are creating systems that are not existing or not allowed to exist by physics because they're based upon surreality. Political goals. Therefore, political goals that based upon the less information can physically never be achieved
Can we-
unless we create enormous externalities, damage.
Can we say, like, I'm just thinking now the SDGs, the
Yeah.
Sustainable Development Goals.
Right.
One of them, and we haven't talked about it before, but one of them is zero hunger. And I've been thinking about that. That is basically impossible, you know, well, if you want to do that, then maybe... Or have you thought about that, or have you applied it to a whole society?
No,
or?
we have been testing this, meta-testing the last 5-6 months on all kinds of subjects, also on SDGs. Are they achievable or not?
Okay,
But they are not achievable.
that's what I figured.
No,
but
because again, they don't have the balance between mass, energy, and information, and they are created. Why we have these goals? Because there is a destabilized world, right? Zero hunger has a cause. And the cause, and I checked many causes of global risks by the World Economic Forum, for example, they report every year. And 82% is man-caused, man-made.
Yes, of the problems you mean.
So hunger, for example, is caused by a decision somewhere down the line of not seeing or ignoring hunger and not alleviating it. Because the information to alleviate is there.
Yeah, we have enough food to
Exactly.
feed the world.
Yeah.
The only thing was that in 2020 I got so surprised because we want zero hunger, and then we close all the supply chains in the world, which means that 100 million people were at risk of losing their life on hunger. And so increase of hunger. And on all of the SDGs, I've been working on that. Most of the SDGs we have backtracking instead of going towards. Even if you say, okay, we need to kind of reformulate the goals, probably, because zero might be not attainable, but there's been backtracking on that instead of making progress.
Yes, I've read that paper you wrote, so that's you are quoted in my research as well. So
I didn't know that, thanks.
of course, no. So Aristotle says, you have to seek knowledge of cause. So when we have the cause, and as I said, the research says 82% is man-made caused by an information deficit, either
82%.
From unawareness or from deliberate.
That's a lot. So these 12% is probably bad luck, like weather or something.
Yeah, the weather we have no control over. There's factors. You have volcanoes, you have weather, you have weather patterns. We have. That is, but the man-made causes, man cause is 82% of all global risks.
That's a lot. I didn't know it was 82%.
Yeah, I calculated it.
Wow.
And I reported in my report as well, in my thesis as well. Because I say, is the information not to have those risks available? Yes. We don't have to have them.
Right, we have all the information. Well, actually, one of my presentations, I end with, we have all the information we need, let's apply it. Because scientifically, we know that how to solve almost all world problems,
right.
Societal problems at least.
Yeah.
And we know that, for instance, a country that has a lot of inequalities, like the United States, they also have a lot of societal problems. The most societal problems, it's like a 0.80 correlation or something.
Yeah, the science is there to demonstrate that we have a problem. And the problem, I try to, discover the cause of the problem. And I would say that the laws of physics are ignored. The laws of biology are ignored. We create a surreal society. But we cause consequences, the externalities, the collateral damage is caused, which is actually the energy that is paid for all the problems we cause. Understand? So it comes into an energetic balance.
Yes.
That if I don't have it here, I have to cause it from there.
So we put in a lot of, like the messy room, we put a lot of energy to sustain the mess, the mess instead of solving the problem.
Exactly. The information that it is a mess and we have to put energy into it to clear it up is not being implemented or ignored or suppressed. Because somebody gains, and this is social interdependence theory, I can only gain what I want if you can't.
Okay.
Or you can't, right? So this is what the cost of it is.
That's a win-lose situation.
So that's exactly, so it's equivalent to thermodynamics. The information and the information deficit paradox says the goal, so the enforcement of the lie to gain competitive advantage already dissipates the energy I would have needed to achieve that goal.
Right.
So
you're putting your energy in the wrong things, basically.
So the paradox says that it's not available anymore to achieve it,
And that's
unless you cause a lot of damage.
You formulated that paradox,
exactly,
right?
yeah. And it's also testable, also by AI. So I can put the information paradox in the AI system and say, okay, please analyze this system or the observation from a political goal or whatever. And it comes down and say, okay, these are the options. This is the relationships. In 20 seconds, it finds a lot of relevant information. And the idea of the app, the formula is that it gives us more information to choose from. And this is the value of this research.
I haven't seen the app yet, so I'm really interested in that. So what I would like to see, what is the outcome? So for instance, can you give an example of what you calculated and what came out of that?
Yes, I can. But I need to look at my phone. It's closed now. But anyway, so now it says here, testing the functionality of technocracy using Van Campen's general law of functionality.
Yeah, that's the ChatGPT.
ChatGPT, you can do any
So, for instance, if I say, well, maybe it's too big a question, but is our society collapsing because our politicians are not using the right information? Would that be?
Yeah. Okay, we can do the test if you want.
Yeah.
I can ask that.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
It's a good question. I hope ChatGPT can.
Let's just
can help us with that.
Let's see. Okay, I have to copy this. Because it's still a text. It's not an app yet. We are developing the app, but it's still manual.
Text-based.
But I give you the text, the input for AI to test it. Yeah. So I can hear. Okay, what did you ask again? Sorry.
Is our society collapsing?
Oh yeah. Test the functionality of society. Huh?
Not functionality of society. And society is big, of course, but because our politicians are not using the right information.
Yeah. Because politics.
Yeah, they're not using the right information. They're ignoring information and they're suppressing information.
Suppress information will be.
It's suppressing, ignoring, and not using basically.
Ignore.
Because it's not always actively suppressing. It's also ignoring information that you don't want to hear.
Okay, I asked now, test the functionality of society because politics suppresses, ignores information. Yeah?
Right.
By Van Campen's law, general functionality, and then we say display empirical results, probability dysfunctional, m minus I beyond reality is entropy probability more than zero. That's the equation. Understanding dysfunctional equation, understanding the equation, it gives also probability dysfunctional, delta S entropy is more than zero. If mass minus information exceeds reality, the system becomes dysfunctional, leading to increased entropy, collateral damage, externality will be caused because energy is dissipated. That's the input.
Oh, that's the input. Okay,
Yeah.
I was thinking, is that the output already?
You can read it. You can read it to the audience. A few things.
So to empirically test how society functions when political systems suppress or ignore information using Van Campen's general law of functionality, m minus I greater than R.
Yeah. So you can read the outcome.
Difference of S. The outcome. But it says, where is the outcome then? Because it says step 1, define the metrics.
All the way, metrics.
So we have to scroll down because it puts in a lot of information.
It's a lot of information, but you can go to the conclusion, right? Here, conclusion.
Conclusion. I didn't know what the outcome is, so let's see. How does political suppression of information impact society? Open, transparent democracies and data-driven systems remain functional. I won't read when political systems suppress information, this functionality rises, leading to instability, economic failure, and social unrest. Authoritarian systems with extreme censorship become highly dysfunctional as reality R cannot counterbalance the gap between mass and information loss. A hybrid model with real-time expert-driven governments would be the most functional system according to Van Campen's law. So a notocracy and plus technocracy. That is interesting because
Notocracy is an invention of mine.
okay.
That's governments by information.
Government by information.
Notitia is Latin for information. Gracia is Greek for governance. Notocracy is I think the solution. Because if a government optimizes its information allowance, use, then it can govern. Like a ship, like cybernetical basis, steering a ship.
It's continuous backfeeding of information into the system so that it can stay
The feedback system is fundamental to governance. You have to always allow information, negative and positive feedback, to counterbalance and steer a system.
Away from the cliffs that are...
when you drive a car, you do the same all the time. It's all feedback system. And everything really, so the finding also in my research is that everything is feedback dependent. Finish.
Yes, cybernetics is really important.
Yeah.
The only thing is that you say that this is the solution, but it's not existent yet. But what I've said with the Great Citizens Movement is like a form of direct democracy might even be...
Yeah, optimize information, democracy is fine, but as long as you allow all the information. But if you have 49%, of electorate, they can't say anything because 51% can decide everything. You miss 49% of the information, which is totally ungovernable.
So you are living in Switzerland, actually. They have this direct more or less direct democracy. I think that's the most direct democracy system in the world that I know of, at least.
At the moment, I think so, and it works, but also it
has its downside.
It has its downside. Of an example, Viola Amherst, one of the ministers, they gave up Swiss neutrality to choose sides at the moment. This is a very big mistake.
Yes. Well, they make, of course, it won't be perfect, but the thing is, it's not. There are forms of direct democracy that go even further, right? That are in theory, but not in practice, being used. Maybe in small areas in the world, but not in a whole country that I know of.
Sure. But the information, like democracy, anyway, Socrates hated democracy because
I think he hated representative democracy. You choose somebody in office and they are there for an X number of years and then they dysfunction and then,
Yeah, but the information, steering with information, you cannot know everything, of course you can't, but you have to try to maximize information input. I'm also teaching this already in the oil industry. I'm a trainer, so I train people already on this system to have an early warning system, centrally collecting information that is relevant to the operation.
So how would that work? Can you give an example? What is an early warning?
Well, this is like, for example...
Like you are making a mistake now, please stop.
No, for example, we have a valve that's leaking,
Yeah.
Drip. Nobody cares. 1 week later, it's a big flow. Huh? Some accident, some
fire
gets killed, something, right? So information, real-time corrections. That is important.
So
this is a very good safety net system, like a safety improvement system. You can, for example, we did a test for a terminal. They did not know, all the contractors, the builders that come into these oil terminals, they have to do, hot work and repairs, but they do not know what these people, who the people are, were they really trained in good safety. They can do a little exam, but it's very, very minor. It's not enough. So the general manager does not know who is really working in his plant. That information is crucial.
Yes.
Because not so long ago, somebody got killed in Barcelona. I got a call this week, actually, from another terminal. Somebody gets killed. And now they come to me and say, oh, we need a better safety system. We have to train these people, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Always after the fact, right?
Yeah, I know in industry that safety is really a big issue.
Of course, yeah.
And knowing who is working there, but also what their skills are. So knowing who knows what.
Exactly, you need to know, again, optimal information about who is coming there. If you have a contractor and this guy is from, and he doesn't speak English because he's from Romania, for example, and you have those contractors working with you, what is the risk exposure?
Right.
And that information must be collected. And when you have that information, you can maximize your safety. And that is exactly, but it applies to everything we do, really, in transport. For example, I would say in an airport, when there is non-optimal information on an airport, you will not arrive in your destination. All these people work with maximum information. We have to, otherwise these flights will never arrive.
Right, or accidents happen.
Exactly. So this is already in, but people are not aware of it, how important it is, and this hopefully helps.
Yeah, and how this whole system works. So, for instance, in these kind of industries, we know we have to do this because otherwise accidents will happen every day. But in politics, accidents happen every day, but nobody cares or something because people are dying, but not in a plant or something, and that.
But politics are ulteriorly motivated. They want to have something they don't deserve. Okay.
What do you mean?
Well, they want to have a goal that they don't deserve. They want to have maybe power. They want to have money. They want to have position.
So they have a conflict of interest. You mean like they are not here to serve the public. They are,
of course,
oftentimes, not always, of course, but
they do not realize they don't have the energy to achieve it unless somebody else pays for it. And this is the social interdependence theory.
So basically, what you're saying, they are achieving a lot of goals for themselves at the expense of the public. Basically.
Exactly. And so now hopefully people become aware of this system that nothing is for free. There's no free lunch. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And they try that.
But there are win-win situations.
There could be, of course. But if you have not negative externalities, but positive externalities, there also. So you can do achievement for the society, for the for a city, for a town, for a community. Of course you can, but then you have to. It's like this is called positive social interdependence. That the outcome is win-win.
What I've seen over the years in politics and everywhere in the world is that leaders that really want something good for their people are often being killed.
Oh, yeah.
Well. I haven't researched it, but because maybe also bad dictators are being killed sometimes. But I have the feeling that there are more good people being killed than bad people in that sense. What is do you have any take on that? Or
no, the app is really karma. Right?
Karma. What do you mean?
It is true because it's thermodynamically it's impossible. So you're going to be killed because what goes around comes around.
Well,
and it takes time sometimes, but we can prevent it now by already having the information that it will go wrong or it will be dysfunctional through this idea. And hopefully it will work also in politics, so to maybe become more cautious, to have them optimizing the information access and use, and then stop the censorship. But censorship is physically also not possible. You cannot destroy information. You cannot.
It will just go underground or something.
Disconnect information. Maybe. It's impossible physically by nature. So this is what I try to build.
So you can burn the books, but
the information is still there. The information is collected. It is like added
in the collective
every day. Every day is there's information because information has mass.
Right.
Cool. Well,
it's very cool. What if you could be creating an ideal world and there were no constraints? They would say, Arend, you are God for a day, and please use your formula to make the world a better place. So what would it be? And what would the world look like if we don't do it? If we go on like this?
No, the entropy is only accelerating at the moment. So the disorder, we cannot control it unless you put energy in there, information. So the ideal world would be that people become aware of this and then they will act on it. I cannot change the world, and a lot of people will not listen to me or ignore me, or they are just not interested in it, right? But the movement must start somewhere, and that's what I'm trying to do. So I think the ideal world would be if everybody would be aware that information is not just a message, it is real, it's physical. And this is my
And how important information
my message, yes. And fundamental. We are in a binary 1 and 0 universe. It's either true or not true.
It's interesting because I'm going to get to that, but I was also, while you're talking, thinking, during the COVID-19 situation, most people don't want to talk about it anymore maybe, but I saw that people were like shutting themselves off from different information.
Right.
If you say something that goes against the held belief that they really wanted to hold on to, people got angry with each other even. There was a lot of
yeah, but then that is your field, biases, right?
The biases and errors, right?
Yeah, so you have to explain that to the audience.
Well, the more important it is, the more bias is basically a distortion of information, because you want to hold on to your belief, and it's like a religion. If somebody challenges your belief system, you get angry because you don't want to be challenged, or you're open to it, to a different reality. Maybe I'm not right, but if it's so like almost sectarian, people are really clinging on to this belief and getting angry with each other all the time.
Yeah. But the theory, of course, disproves cognitive biases, that they don't lead to a goal or it's disturbing because the information, as I say, we have cognitive dissonance, or we have confirmation bias or bandwagon effect. You see it all over the politics.
Bandwagon effect is that people do the same thing, or it's like herd behavior.
Exactly.
They follow each other. Okay, you're doing this, I'm doing the same.
Yeah, exactly. So all these cognitive biases can hopefully be, call it diluted, or maybe.
Yes, we can't erase them because they have function sometimes at some point in time.
But it's very simple. Everything works only when there's optimal information. This is the only basic rule. So if you ignore it, it won't work. That's so simple.
So your basic message is don't ignore information. Try to be open to information. If you formulate it positively, try to be as open-minded as possible, even if people challenge your belief systems. Yeah. Because I have a belief system, everybody has a belief system, and sometimes I get really annoyed when people try to, but then I'm trying to correct myself. Okay, let's be open to this person's belief system and see if there's any information that's useful for me.
Exactly.
In what he or she is saying.
No, openness and it's like the natural. It comes now to symbiosis, right? Symbiosis, of course, biological cooperation of different species is fundamental for living systems to survive on. So that is only possible by communication, exchanging information. So Anthony Wilden is a communication professor. He says a living system cannot not communicate.
Right. Yeah, even plants communicate with each other.
Exactly. So when you see that reality, that natural reality, and we, custom ourselves towards that, and then we can have this, as Terence McKenna said, the world is made of language. We say how it's going to be.
So if we erase the 82% man-made disasters, we have heaven on earth, basically.
And we have the information, thus the energy to do it.
Right. So let's create heaven on earth. And thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you.